Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Hicks-Forrest. Today is our Wednesday Wisdom. It's a few minutes after 9 o'clock Pacific time, and our topic today is self-forgiveness. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. I have a course that's beginning February 17th, Saturday morning, and I haven't refined the name yet, but it's a journey into loving yourself from the inside out. And it's a 6-week course, Saturday mornings from 8 to 9, 1 hour for 6 weeks. There's a break in the middle, so it actually goes for like 7. You can find more information on the website and contact me if you're interested, or if you get my emails, you can reply to the email, or if you're in my private Facebook group, you can reach me there. There's an event created in that page, so all kinds of places you can find that information and reach out to me if it's something that interests you or you just want to know more about. It's the journey into loving yourself from the inside out. The course is about us figuring out for ourselves what is self-love. How do I define it for myself? And then some fun kind of ways, some different perspectives about what makes us tick and how does it operate the way that we do. And then eventually at the last 2, we get into meeting that inner child and beginning that healing relationship as we carry through that 6 weeks. It's a really powerful course that's created. I've had several people say it's really deep and it's actually fun, and which is really awesome to me because I'm known to be quite serious. So that I've created a fun way to approach this is super exciting to me. Okay, who just joined?
Hi, it's Stacy.
Hey, Stacy. I thought it might be you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to have to mute, but I'm here.
Cool. I'm glad you were able to make it. We are talking about self-forgiveness today, and I wanted to start with, I did my little spiel now, and we're being recorded, so I wanted to start with what it means to you. What is forgiveness to you? Let me read the definition I found first. I'll start with that. To cease and forgive, the root of the word forgive, to cease to feel resentment against, and then it has in parentheses an offender, to give up resentment of or claim to requital, like forgiving an insult, to grant relief from payment. That's one of the other ones. So what does it mean to you when you think of self-forgiveness?
I get to move on.
Does anybody else have any thoughts about what is that for you?
It's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I have my whole thing about forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and I found some really great articles, healthy ways to forgive yourself, and talking about a little piece of this is the ability to forgive ourselves for mistakes, large and small, is critical to psychological well-being. Difficulties of self-forgiveness are linked to suicide attempts, eating disorders, alcohol abuse. None of us know anything about that stuff. All right. Right? Okay. Research suggests that while it relieves unpleasant feelings like guilt and shame, it may also in some cases reduce empathy for others and motivation to make amends. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me about forgiveness. And so someone requested this topic, and I've been just pondering the topic of forgiveness. When I think of forgiveness, to me, what it really means is I've accepted whatever has happened or whatever I have done, if we're talking about self-forgiveness. And if I'm talking about I must forgive me, that also means that I have a judgment about it. Mm-hmm. I've made a judgment. I've created an opinion. I've labeled myself bad and wrong. I've done all these things that I now think I must forgive myself for. When the truth probably is I did what I thought was best at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I made choices based on whatever information I had at that time. And now I think that I have to forgive me because I didn't know any different. Kind of goes, I was thinking about the what ifs of the conversation last week. If I don't know any different, and then I make amends for my behavior, or I take responsibility for my behavior, and then I do it different, that's how I move forward. Nancy was talking about moving forward. But, so it's a whole big plug for me about forgiving myself. Self-forgiveness. You know, what the fuck does that mean? Because it means I'm judging me for being me. And I'm judging me for being human when I'm doing the very best I can at any given moment in time. That's it. Simple. Not simple. Simple to say, not always simple to do. Right?
Right.
So some things to consider is to look at whatever I've done, and many of us that are in recovery did these things when we were out there, not in recovery. And in that realm of our mental disorder, it is a mental disorder, disease, insanity, whatever label you want to put on it. What's the forgiveness in that when I didn't know anything different? I'm all about survival. I'm all about being crazy, insane, and selfish just to get my needs met because I don't know how to do something different. And so when I hear that, I get a little bit of a charge about it because it's a blame game, and I'm going to blame myself and be mad at myself for making decisions that I didn't know any different. It's called being human because it's all about that whole forgiveness piece and blaming and shaming. That's all my ego, keeping me locked into some thing, some place, so it survives and keeps me locked in that cycle. Does that make sense? So some of the things is to, we just get to realize that the past is the past. I can't change it. I can't make it any different. What can I do going forward? I can look at it. I can take the lesson. I can be responsible. I can go make amends. What is amends? Amends is amending my behavior. Once I can amend my behavior, recognize the past is in the past, recognize that how I made my decisions then may not be the same today, and through that whole process, there comes a place of acceptance. And within that comes the forgiveness, to follow through on that forgiveness vein. When I'm accepting, this is what's so. Now, I was thinking about things that seem unforgivable. Somebody breaks in your home and let's say you kill them or you harm them. You've incapacitated them in some way. How do you forgive yourself for that? Do you start blaming and shaming yourself for protecting your family because you harmed another human being that was threatening your very life? That's an extreme example, right? But I can imagine there's a place that I would find that I would not be able to forgive myself because I might not be able to accept that I did that thing. When that thing was simply my human reaction to feeling like my life or my family is threatened. So there's many levels, many places. That's an extreme example. What about when we say something to our children or to our husband that's just mean? It's just mean. It's just mean, and he gets his feelings hurt, and then what do I do with that? Do I make it different? Do I amend my behavior and make it different? Take responsibility, or do I keep doing it? Do you see the loop that keeps you when I keep doing that, and then I'm not forgiving myself, and I'm not accepting that behavior, and I'm not amending that behavior? Then I'm staying in that loop of shame, blame, guilt, unforgiveness, unacceptance. When we know better, we do different. And we do better. When we don't, we do the same things. And a lot of this comes out of that, the unconsciousness of our wounding that happened when we were young. Most often it happens when we're young, those wounds, and now we just have the whole reaction to whatever life is bringing to us. We're reacting. It's not until we get into doing some of our becoming aware of ourselves and becoming conscious of our thoughts and our behaviors and how we are in the world and how we show up in the world that we then can begin to do something else. We can then begin to heal some of those deeper layers. When we're harmed as children and I make it my fault, why do I need to forgive myself? It's a thought, it's just a question, because I'm a child, I was harmed or victimized or abused, which in that wounded place creates that shame, blame, guilt. And my behavior comes out of that place trying to protect the wound. Mm. Are you tracking me here? Are you following me?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if somebody comes along and says something that gets very close to that wound, I'm going to react, right? Because I got to protect that. Got to keep that protected. And then I'm going to sit and I'm going to blame myself, and I'm going to guilt myself, and I'm going to shame myself, judging myself. Right? It's a process. That's the whole process. And what if the beginning is simply to get curious about things? Right? Just simply look and go, wow, that was interesting. I wonder what that was all about. Instead of feeling like I have to judge it or I have to react from my wounded place. And I haven't found an super easy yet. All I can do is offer these tools because it's such a process. And depending on where you are in that spectrum, I hope some of this or something about this has been helpful. So the bottom line for me is it's really about accepting that I am human and I make mistakes and I'm doing the best that I can and I am amending my behaviors to be the best person I can be every day. That helps me in that place of acceptance and healing instead of, I must forgive me, which labels me as like I'm a bad person or I'm a whatever judgment I lay on that. So underneath that, self-forgiveness as that label, to me, is acceptance. That we're human. That's why we have each other. That's why we're all here to do this together.
Mhm.
I covered a lot in a short time. There's way more than that. It's a whole really deep subject, but I'm going to stop right there.
Mhm.
What resonates for you? What are you taking away?
Go, Nancy.
Oh my! Right? Oh wow! I do like the fact that a lot of these wounds I've gotten as a child, and I still haven't let go of those, and so I keep adding to those, which makes it even this bigger suitcase of things I need to forgive myself for. But to start somewhere and accept that here's this suitcase full of my things, and accept that this is it, and start and just try to love myself through it. The past is the past, and to try to open up the suitcase and start taking those things out, and that's okay to do. I don't have to keep holding on to those things. It's just kind of this weird realization I get that I am doing the best I can now, and accept that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Actually, I do hear you when you say that at that moment in time, that was your choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment was then, because we're trying to live in the now. So in terms of time, it means something for me because I hear you. Of course, everybody says, yeah, we have to let go of the past. Well, that's all very nice and good, but I'm not there yet. And I have been saying to myself, when I get questioned, when my actions get questioned, or I question myself, I do say to myself, well, that's exactly what I was thinking yesterday. That was then. I know I made the choice I needed to make at that time, and so, we have to just keep going forward, like Nancy was saying, going forward, because getting stuck is not good.
Well, yes, and sometimes we take what we know today and what we've learned today based on those experiences, and then judge those experiences. Like I should have known what I know today then. Right, so I'm filtering through what I've learned up to this point, and that's how I got here. And now I'm judging then based on today through this lens.
Yeah.
When if I was living in that very moment in time that I'm judging today, if I was back in that time and I didn't know, right, I didn't know what I know now, how can I be judging that? Because I'm doing the best that I can do in that moment.
Mhm. And that's a dilemma for me.
Yeah, I was molested as a child. Well, a couple different times, but at 10 years old, this guy was creepy. I never liked him, and I knew better, and I knew he was creepy. We were not taught to listen to our intuition. We were taught to respect our elders.
Mm-hmm.
He was my elder, and I got molested. Mm-hmm. So then I take my view of today, because I should have known better, because he creeped me out, and he this and this and this, which was all very valid, but I didn't know how to do anything other than what I did. And yet I sat in not today currently, but in somewhere down the road when I started this recovery, I sat in the judgment of, I knew better. That should not have happened to me because I knew better and he was creepy and blah, blah, blah. Well, when you're living with the fear of God from your parents, as we say, the saying, then you respect your elders. Mm-hmm. And you do what you're told to do. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. But I took my judgment of what I've learned since that time at 10 years old until I was, 35 or 40. And I projected it back onto that child. Do you see how that keeps me in that? It keeps me unforgiving. It keeps me unaccepting and judging.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the problem I have with judgment is because, like you're saying, okay, you go to church, don't judge this one, don't judge that one. But if you don't use your judgment skills, you'd be in,
Okay, so let me qualify this.
Okay, what I'm thinking is, okay, go ahead, honey.
There's there's a label we put on judgment that comes with an opinion. Maybe it's called discernment.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being discerning about something and judgment about something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful? That helped me a lot. So my judgment always comes with an opinion about what I think. Discernment is usually something that's just what's so, and there's no opinion. Like I'm discerning if this place is safe for me or not, right? That's different than a judgment about it.
Okay. I'll have to look that up. Discernment. Yeah, because I do get a little confused.
Well, it is, and
that.
we're quick to label because it feels the same sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to the place of I've labeled a lot of things. People are sad and they're grieving. They call it depression.
Yeah.
But it's not. They call it judgment when I'm discerning that that's really not a situation I choose to be in. I'm not judging the situation. I just choose to not be in it. Right?
Yeah.
That's discernment.
Okay, honey. I appreciate that.
I know Stacy's on mute. We have another minute or so. Stacy, do you want to add anything? Couldn't hear her hang up.
Actually, what you just said about grief versus depression, that's something I went through last fall. And so I was actually at the doctor expressing my depression, and, their solution is, an antidepressant, which I understand if you're truly depressed. It has an adverse reaction on me, and that's when you told me that maybe it's not depression you're going through, but rather the grief process. So with that, I was set free. I really, truly was. I quit taking the medication. It didn't work because I truly wasn't depressed. I was grieving. And the same thing you just said about discernment and judgment. I have to be able to look at a situation and see, is this safe for me to go into? Are these people safe for me to be around? My sobriety is the most important thing. So I have to, I truly have to look at what is judging and what am I, discernment or whatever word you want, what am I doing to protect myself? So, very good talk today. Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome. Some of us call that intuition, too. We just know. We just know.
Yeah.
And learning to trust, and learning to trust that intuition.
Oh, my gosh, yes. That's
what I am. Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Right smack in the middle of it.
Well, we start getting trained out of our intuition first by our parents, and then when we go to school.
Absolutely true.
You're not allowed to have intuition at school.
Right. Well, and then if you have a sick parent raising you, my mom's a narcissist, so I had no intuition because I didn't know anything. She knew everything.
Right, you don't know.
So her word was the God's word. And so, it takes a lot of untraining my mind to be able to live a different lifestyle.
Yeah. That's what that Course in Miracles does. It untrains you. Year-long course. Well,